countries as well, you know, you think of some of those that would have traveled far and wide to be here. And Undabezitha Bulelani KaLobengula kaMzilikazi of Mthwakazi in Zimbabwe is here in studio with us as we talk about this day and what it means for us. It's an honor. Siyabonga kakhulu. Thank you so much, Ndabezitha. Siyabonga. A day like today for you, what does it mean?
Oh, this is monumental. It's a display, it's spectacular for the world to see that Africans actually value their own cultures, their own epithets, their own value systems as well. We've seen how the Brits do, we've seen the other nations do it. Why can't we do the same, irrespective of which king it is, for that matter? So this is brilliant, this is beautiful, this is good, this is a good show of support. We are interlinked in terms of heritage, we're interlinked because of blood, we are interlinked because of historical values and historical elements that we can't deny. So why not support your fellow king? As you know, so Isizwe was built literally by the two men, Ushaka Mzilikazi. So you can't lie to anyone about it. That's our heritage. So it's very important. It's key.
We are ugly when we are divided. We are beautiful when we are bound together by a common thread, and the common thread is nation building,
Yes, sir.
culture, tradition. Talk to us about the value of social cohesion at a time like this when you see a display such as this.
You know what the nice thing is, when you are here, I am Kumalo. You'll find a Kumalo here. You'll find a Kumalo in Bots. You'll find a Kumalo in Zim. You'll find a Kumalo in Botswana. You'll find a Kumalo in Zambia. You'll find a Kumalo in Mozambique. And it tells us we've had xenophobic attacks in the past. And why would you then think that the person that, because of a border, no longer is your brother, your kin, your bloodline any longer just because there's a border? It shows the people that we are actually one. It's a sense of unity. And it's good when leaders are showing it, so that the world can see, so that the people can see, so that our kids in the future can see. Yeah.
And you talk about the unity, and it's something that Isilo also touched on, you know, talking about how the borders must not even begin to divide, and saying that Amazulu, wherever they are, they must also, you know, unite with everyone else. I wonder how challenging is it for you as you're taking this to the future to bring in the young people on board to understand the roles that are played by monarchs in a modern democracy?
In a modern democracy? Interesting question. We'll touch on that, but I think with anything and everything, it needs to evolve. Ubukhosi needs to evolve according to present day. It needs to learn the new traits and the new challenges that people face there every single day. Leadership needs to actually be on the ground to listen, and it's a listening attempt for us, and really to enact. I mean, this is a simple example of something that we see behind us here. That irrespective of what challenges we may face, if we come together, we are going to be okay. We are going to be okay. We've got a president that's invited us here, and we've got to applaud that, because in other countries some may not be able to do the same thing. So we've got to commend, we've got to communicate, we've got to sit down and discuss even the constitutional basis of whatever we do as leaders. We've got to sit down and say, look, Mr. President, look, government, look, this is what the people want, because we are on the ground. And how do we go about doing it? It's consultative type of process. It's a consultative type of process. So yes, definitely, that's our duty.
Here in South Africa, we live in a constitutional democracy where the constitution is the supreme law. It is what brings us together. When you have African traditions and African customs, how is that balanced within a modern society?
You can't separate the two forces there. Let's talk about democracy. Let's talk about constitutionalism. The constitution was developed to help people survive along each other, irrespective of their differences, right? So it's supposed to serve us. It's not the other way around. So you can't say culture is outside of that. Community morals is a huge thing in the Constitution. That's what it is. Customary law is part of that Constitution. So you can't separate the two forces. They are interlinked and intertwined.
And you spoke about listening, being on the ground with people, and there's been a lot of talk, even around King MisuZulu, for example, to say the most important thing that happens now is to not be so far removed from people, is to ensure that the issues that they're facing, unemployment, the impact of COVID-19 is also being addressed. And I wonder, how do you begin to, as a leader of the Amazulu nation, as a leader of your nation as well, how do you begin to make sure that you use your voice to really advocate for some of the changes that must take place on the ground?
Yeah, back to the consultative process issue. I think we need to be men of our word. We need to understand our people first. We need to understand what their plight is, what they are really going through. I can give you a simple example. In terms of resources, Amakosi have land. What do you do with land? The first thought that comes to my mind is agriculture. Why do we not then instill the values, as Amakosi would say? Let's bring our people back to their agricultural type of value. Or even if you don't have 10,000 hectares, you've got a hectare. What can you do with that hectare? It's education. It's that's where you start. And then you can go to government and say, look, this is what we have. This is what we don't have. This is where you come in.
Dabuzit, we know that you're very busy. Sibonga isikhatsa, siyabonga kakhulu. Isikhathi eside kodwa sisazokulanda siyabonga kakhulu Dabuzit, siyabonga. Asilithathe kancane lethuba, siyabonga. That is King Bulelani KaLobengula kaMzilikazi of Mthwakazi in Zimbabwe. You can only imagine. That tells you, Blaine, of how far and wide people have traveled to be able to make sure that South Africa celebrates this moment, because even the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal speaking very, very loudly about how this is not only an Amazulu moment, but it is a moment of the continent, it's a moment of the world, it's a moment of South Africa as well.
It matters. Why? Because it talks to how tradition and culture meets modernity, new world. What does it mean in terms of you and I experiencing this for the very first time, for many, the very first time? Remember, the last time this happened was over 50 years. Let's listen in.